I thought so much for so many days about what I would bring to you this morning. And it could have gone a lot of different ways, let me tell you. Here's what I was reminded of. This universe, which began 13.8 billion years ago, give or take, was initially one divine single point of concentrated, compacted mass. And then there was a big bang, and that one original mass of divine, energetic material blew apart and became particles. And holy moly, within 3 minutes, how great that we know this, 3 minutes of the Big Bang, those divine particles did something radically profound. They began bonding with other particles. And over thousands of years, the particles continued bonding together. And they created something even greater. The impulse of the universe from the very, very beginning has always been growth. But this growth required the uniting of things. The divine intelligence of those particles in the universe thousands of years ago somehow knew that they needed to connect and bond to each other to grow into something greater. Because over time, all of those particles bonding with each other created atoms. Then those sacred atoms began to bond with other atoms, which, formed something else brand new, molecules. Then about 9 billion years later, yes, billion, those molecules began to connect and bond with other molecules, and that connection, my friends, formed the creation of cells. A cell is defined as the basic building block of all living things. And those cells grew into brand new holy organisms which kept connecting and bonding and growing until 13 billion years later, from divinity itself, we arrived. Let's all take a breath. We humans arrived, we exist because particles united with atoms, and atoms united with molecules, and molecules united with cells. We exist as a result of the choice to unite after dividing. We exist as a result of the choice to unite after dividing and breaking from what was before. In order to grow, to create something greater than what is, we must unite. It's the only way. It's the only way. My talk today is called United We Stand for Love. There it is. I had a really good laugh this week because when our weekly email newsletter went out, it looked like this. United We Stand for Love. Are we sure? Our communications director and I, at first were like, whoop. And then I was like, okay, God, I get what you're doing here. All right. United we stand for love, that's great. But how? Can we? So it got me to think about this whole idea, how we stand for love, how we do this. And even that we know, as I just laid out for you, in the most basic level, humans are designed to unite. How do we do this when there is so much division? 2 ways. We call upon our strength and we lean into our faith. That's how we do it. So let's start with strength. The original meaning of the strength is very interesting to me because in it contains this idea of lengthening or long. The idea being that we are strong for the long haul. That's inherent in the meaning of strength. It's not meant to be short-term. Strength is meant to be long-term. The idea being that endurance is directly connected to the level of strength that we have, our endurance. And we have all endured so much these past several years, haven't we? Yes, we have. And, my friends, we have been called here to stand in our strength, united for love for the long haul. It's easy right now to only think about that thing that is challenging right now in our life, that election that is happening right now this week. But when we can rise above it and recognize that we are being called into the divine principle of strength for the long haul, it shifts our perspective, does it not? It shifts things. For me, it helps to actually soften some of the edges and the stressors of that. Whatever happens this Tuesday in this election, we beloveds are here to do this work of inclusion and helping to make the world a better place for the long haul, meaning for generations upon generations. Every one of us is a part of this very important lineage of evolution in human history that is happening right now. The lineage is what we are part of. You know that that part in that comes up like in a TV show in a Netflix special. You know when the woman is like getting ready to give birth, and it's all really dramatic. It's rarely like that. I mean, come on. But it's like for theatrical effect, you know, and she's like 10 meters dilated and they're racing through like sleet and snow and her water breaks and then a tire blows and then all this stuff. And they're wheeling her in and she's screaming maniacally. Anyway, it's for, again, theatrical effect. And then she's in the room and she's getting ready to deliver the baby. She's in the labor and she's at, that point where inevitably she looks up and says, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. Stop. I'm not doing it anymore. You know that part? And it's at that very part where everyone in the room, the doctors, the nurses, the doula, the midwife, the spouse, just kind of give each other that knowing look. Well, sweetie, there's no stopping now. One less push and the baby's born. So I think right now that Spirit or the divine must be having that very same look with us. We're like, no, I can't do it anymore. And God's like, oh, sweetie, there's no stopping now. Which brings me to our faith. Our faith. Not an empty faith of wishing, but a faith and an understanding of the very ground that we walk on, the very air that we breathe. The body temples that we inhabit are a result of the uniting of things. This is our divine nature, and we can have faith in this. We can have faith in this. The founder of the Baha'i faith, Baha'u'llah, said, so powerful is the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole earth. So powerful is the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole earth. My friends, at the most basic level, we are all made of just 4 types of particles which have been around the majority of the lifetime of this entire universe. We share those particles with every sentient being that has ever existed. We have belonged to each other before cells existed. And for me, the scientific knowledge of this grounds my faith in the humanity of our spiritual evolution. Within our universe, there has always been a divine order of belonging. And every single one of us, whatever side of the aisle you are on, every one of us is part of it. The unfathomably magnificent, infinite intelligence of the universe has taught us this. In no uncertain terms, on a cellular level, in order to grow and survive, we have an innate need to join together, to bond, and to unite. I had the great privilege of getting to teach our Practitioner 2 class this week. I get to teach 3 classes per term. Our beloved Shelley Walker teaches all of the other ones. And this past week, we talked about this idea in our New Thought teaching that if we could whittle it down to one word, it would be oneness. And how glorious that idea is, and how huge that is, and how kind of impossible it seems at times, especially the times we're living in now, yes? But that's the spiritual truth. That's been the spiritual truth spoken by sages and saints in ancient traditions for millennia. Despite the seeming division, the truth is that we are one. The oneness we speak about around here is the cosmological evolutionary oneness that existed before humankind ever even arrived on the scene. It is embedded in all that exists as we know it. Every single thing down to our atoms is connected to another living thing. Friends, I invite you into the faith of this scientific, irrefutable truth. Allow this scientific, irrefutable truth to strengthen your faith, to strengthen it. So let me ask you, where in your own life right now may you be creating division? Maybe it's in your family or your community or a workplace. Maybe it's in your mind only, but there's division there. You know, I talked last week about this concept of us and them and otherizing, this thing that we humans do. You know, the opposite of peace building, the opposite of uniting. And we fall into this trap so easily. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Especially during election time. But there is a Swahili proverb that says, unity is strength, division is weakness. Unity is strength, division is weakness. If we want to stand in our strength, we must hold the faith that any kind of division is weak. Remember, the impulse of life is to unite when there is division. So the call then for each one of us is to have the strength to take a breath and unite, even if in our minds, rather than divide. We're always at choice here to either unite or divide, to meet the lowest vibrational energy or to rise above it. We're always at choice. We see all of this behavior, right? We see it all being acted out. And really, it's like Spirit is saying, okay, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You're at choice. Are you going to move your feet? Are you going to take action for that which you want to be the change? Are you going to create more division in your mind? What are you going to do? Right? The impulse of life is to unite. As a magnificent former lady of ours once said, when they go low, we go high. And there is so much wisdom in that, spiritual wisdom in that. That is uniting. That is uniting. And now that we are getting closer to Tuesday's election, or for anyone who is facing any kind of challenge in your own personal life as well, whatever that may be for you, we have an opportunity to step into the highest truth about whatever that is. That's what we do around here. We remind ourselves that in the midst of all of this, kind of like I spoke last week, in the midst of all of it, we're here to remember the truth. It's like the example I used. If you're watching that scary part in a movie, there's the part of you watching the scary moment in the movie, and then there's this part of you up here, the witness part, the oversoul, as Emerson called it. Your inner wisdom, your highest self is up here observing you, watching the scary part of the movie. I invite us all into that practice of observing, because what that does is it brings us perspective, it brings us space, it gives us some hang time to remember. In the spiritual evolution of humanity, this is part of an opportunity to choose to either stay mired in the scary part and the stuff that's dividing us, or to rise above, to go high, to be able to get clarity and say, okay, this is happening. This is what's playing out. What is mine to do? What is mine to do here? Right now, all of us have the ability to go high, to move our feet. I want to shout out to our beloved Reproductive and Dignity Rights Ministry for all of the incredible work that they have been doing, our social justice work, our global collective work, and those of you who have voted, who will be voting, whatever it is that you have done to support this, thank you. Thank you. We get to witness all of this happening, and at the very same time to hold every ounce of compassion for what is unfolding, and knowing the highest truth, as Darcy sang, is that love wins. Love will have the final say. It always does. Have faith in that, my friends. Yes? Yes. Because every single time, it is love that unites the divided thing. Think about it. It is love. It is love that unites the divided thing. And in that, there is peace. And in that, we step into the energy of peace building. Black Elk said, peace will come to the hearts of humanity when they realize their oneness with the universe. It is everywhere. Peace will come to the hearts of humanity when they realize their oneness with the universe. It is everywhere. Despite how it may feel, the truth, my friends, is that we were made for these times. We were absolutely 100% made for these times, and loves whatever it is that is happening in your life, in this season of your life. Whatever happens on Tuesday, we unite by doing one thing, by choosing love. Standing in strength and our faith, We choose love, period. Choose love. We let that be our guiding light. We let love be our guiding light. As the great Reverend William Barber said, our moral imperative is to shock this nation with the power of love. Our moral imperative is to shock this nation with the power of love. We do this by standing strong in our faith, by standing strong in this teaching of oneness. I invite you to go out this week with the moral imperative to stand united for love, no matter what. No matter what. No matter what happens on Tuesday or Wednesday morning, I invite you to remember that we get to be here at this time. We get to be ambassadors of peace, bringers of light, truth tellers, folks who march and pray and move our feet with love. We get to be that at this time. We get to participate in the spiritual evolution of humanity. We've all been called here at this time. We have all incarnated to be here at this very specific time in human history. We are all here to unite and to stand for love. I invite you into that this week. Hi, friends. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this message supported you. We are a nonprofit, and we do all of this based solely on the gifts that you give. No amount is too small or too large. You can text to give. You can go online and check out our website. We're doing so much. You can give that way. Thank you so much for being here, for being a part of this community, and for supporting this message of bringing more light, more love, and spirit-led social action out into the world. Thank you. You're loved. So loved.